Hey y'all, good afternoon. Welcome everybody. We're so excited that you're here for Premiere. I think, one of the beautiful things about being virtual, there may not be that many things that we love about it, and there's Zoom fatigue for sure, but a beautiful thing is that I know in sessions like this, we have students come in from all different corners of America and from different corners of the world. And so wherever you're joining us on this Saturday afternoon, welcome, and we are so glad that you're here and learning a little bit more about what it's like to transfer to Baylor. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So some facts about Baylor. I think it's good to start with a strong foundation about knowing who we are. So we were chartered back in 1845 by the Republic of Texas, which is really cool because it means that Baylor's been around longer than Texas has even been a state. So we've been around for a long time, and we're a true mid-size private Christian tier 1 research university here in Waco, Texas. So there's a lot of different identifiers for us. And since we were founded back in 1845, we've grown exponentially. So now we have about 15,000 undergraduate students. And so what that means is that you can get big school opportunities while still having that small school feeling, and you really do get the best of both worlds. So this page just shows you a little bit about what I mean about that wonderful juxtaposition of big school opportunities and small school feel within the realm of academic excellence. So to give you a bird's eye view, we have 9 colleges and schools here at Baylor that house over 120 academic programs, so quite a lot. And we are a top tier research university, and we're actually on our way in the middle of a huge campaign to become an R1 tier 1 research university, which is another higher level. So you get amazing opportunities here, and there's a lot of name recognition coming from a school like Baylor. So there's a lot of big school opportunities here. But then in the right 2 boxes, you see we really still keep that small school feeling. You're definitely not lost in the crowd. Your professors know your name. You feel like you're part of this close-knit family community here. And part of that's because our average class size is 26 students and our student to faculty ratio is 15-1. So you really do get that small school feeling here. But to zoom into the majors a little bit right now, like I said, we have over 120. So with that many majors, I can almost guarantee that we have a program for whatever you want to study. And that ranges from engineering to entrepreneurship. By the way, we're ranked number 9 in the nation for entrepreneurship. It may range from aviation sciences. We actually have our own flight school with a whole fleet of Tecnam planes and a few helicopters as well. So if you want to become a pilot, we have programs for that. We also have apparel design and apparel merchandising. We have pre-med, where we're getting students in a medical school at over 2 times the national average rate. And there's political science and so much more. There's so many different programs we have. And I think one of the best parts of Baylor's academics is our faculty members. They really are just such a gem of your time here. Over 3/4 of our faculty do have their doctoral degrees. So that means that you are being taught by experts in the field that you're studying. And these connections help you not only when you're a student in the classroom, but also when you're seeking recommendations for your future career. And they care about you as a scholar, as a developing professional, and just as a human being in general. So they really will get to know you. As I said, we have small class sizes. The average is 26 students. So you really do get access to those world-class professors who want to invest in you. They have office hours for you, and they really are incredible. So I highly recommend that you take advantage of getting to know them. And of course, you can always go to them if you have questions about any of your papers or you have questions about an assignment, but just know you can also go to the Success Center. This is an amazing office on campus that exists to offer tutoring, supplemental instruction, and a lot of other resources to help you thrive in your academics. So there should be no reason that you can't succeed here at Baylor if you just take advantage of everything that we have to offer. In addition to the Success Center, we also have another office called OLA, which is short for the Office of Access and Learning Accommodations. So if that's something that you need to make sure that you are thriving in your academics for various accommodations in the classroom, then that's another office that will help foster your success. And then another one, which is one of my favorite offices on campus, is the Career Center. They really aim to serve you students. So once you've aced your exam with help from the Success Center, you can just head on over here. They would love to help talk with you about maybe what you want to do with your degree when you graduate, or they could review your resume and your cover letter. They can help you find internship and job interview opportunities. And it's all about helping you get that return on investment. And that's why we have over 280 employers that have attended our career fairs. We had our first career fair of the year just last week. And it was awesome to see students all around campus dressed up in blazers and nice shoes and all of their professional attire, bringing binders full of resumes, over to the business building so that they could just present their resumes and present themselves to all the different employers and recruiters who were there. So the Career Center really does help students with that. In addition to the big events and the big career fairs like that, we actually have over 720 Career Center events in general, where they host different workshops and events just to help you really prepare. We post over 10,000 internships through our Handshake website and over 26,000 jobs through that. So that will be your portal where you can get connected with future jobs. And all that to say, I think you can see that our Career Center really does work to make sure you get the best return on investment and the best ROI here. But speaking of that, of course, ROI has to do with the outcomes for your career and really what you can do with your degree. But I think when students choose Baylor, they're also choosing it because they know that they're going to get an amazing holistic experience here. And that's why we want you to really get involved in student life here. There's so many things to get involved in. The campus is always buzzing with students. We are NCAA D1, so there's lots of different activities to do and sporting events to go to with regard to that. You might have heard the news last year that our men's basketball team won the national championship. And for that, we had a watch party where we were all in McLean Stadium. We were staying COVID safe, but just able to all watch the game together. Many students, faculty, and staff even flew up to where the game was located to watch in person. And so that is the kind of school spirit that you're entering into here at Baylor. And the school spirit is strong, it's contagious, and that's something that you're just going to get involved in when you're here. And if you don't want to just go to the sporting events, but you want to play sports, we also have intramural sports that go on throughout the year so that you can play. We also have club sports. And honestly, we just have so many things to get involved in. There's over 350 student organizations. So everything from student government, Greek life, academic organizations, career development organizations, spiritual life orgs, and much more. Even the Baylor Chamber, and as you'll see in the far right picture, is a club on campus that actually takes care of the two bears that live on campus. We do have two bears named Lady and Joy. They are biological sisters from Oregon, and they are part of the family. We throw birthday parties for them and everything. One of my colleagues, Nolan Bay, who's actually available in the Q&A. So if you have questions throughout, feel free to just pop a question in the Q&A. Nolan is present, so you can ask him about transfer stuff or ask him about his experience being a bear trainer and working in the Baylor Chamber. All that to say, there's so many different ways for y'all to get involved and get into organizations here or even start your own clubs. And we really do want you to feel like you are part of the Baylor family. We even have several multicultural organizations just to recognize and celebrate all the different cultures we have in our student body. These orgs have meetings and big events throughout the year. It's definitely worth putting on your calendar. And they kick off every single year with a week-long event called Mosaic Mixer, where new students can learn all about these clubs. There's free food during Mosaic Mixer, a morning, noon, and night. But truly, no matter what organizations you join, we really just want you to feel like you're part of the Baylor family. And families, we have traditions, right? Especially as we're going into the fall season. I think that's when a lot of families have so many traditions. And these are the quirky and fun things that you do that are distinct to your family. And so we've got a bunch of traditions that make it feel like we're the Baylor family. So whether that's celebrating homecoming with a huge parade. By the way, fun fact, Baylor actually had the very first homecoming in the United States back in 1909. So we're definitely proud of that. Or maybe your new favorite tradition would be running the Baylor line before a football game, where all the other incoming transfers and incoming freshmen, you get to start off in one corner of the field. And right before the home game starts, you sprint across the field, you create a human tunnel for the football team, and then you run up and you get front row seats right behind the opposing team. So you can just yell Christian encouragement throughout the entire game. Or maybe your favorite tradition will be the holiday tree lighting at Christmas on 5th. Whatever it may be, we have got traditions galore. And like I said, I think that just really helps make it feel like you're part of the Baylor lineage. And we have such a long and industrious heritage here at Baylor. So it's incredible to feel like you're really part of the family, as I said. As you can see, I love Baylor so much. I could just talk y'all's ear off about everything, but I do want to shift gears a little bit real quick to talk about how you can actually get to Baylor. So let's go over the application process. Feel free to take a screenshot of this page if you want, because it houses quite a bit of helpful information. So the first step to applying is deciding what semester you would like to join us. We have 3 points of entry for transfers: spring, which has a November 15th deadline, summer, which has a May 15th deadline, and fall, which has a June 1st deadline. It's always good to start the application process a few months or more before the deadline to make sure you have time to gather all the necessary materials for the application and get everything in line. And then once you decide what term you'd like to enter, go ahead and start your application. So the Go Baylor application is the one and only place to apply as a transfer student. Just go to baylor.edu/Go Baylor, create a Go Baylor account, and then submit your free application. And then on the Go Baylor account, you will see your application checklist, which will show you what you need to submit to complete your application. So, all right, so the application required materials are pretty simple, but what you need to submit depends on the magic number of 24, which is where we see step 3 and step 4 come into place. So step 3, if you are applying and you have a less than 24 completed college credits, we will need you to submit 3 things: your final official high school transcript with your graduation date, your ACT or SAT scores, and all of your official college transcripts. And then if you're applying with 24 or more college credits, then you go to step 4, and all we need is just all of your official college transcripts. That's it, from any and all colleges you've ever attended, just that. And then if you've ever taken a break from school for a semester or longer, we will need you to submit a break in education statement describing what you're up to during that time. So we know some students take time off school because they're deployed in the military or they're working or had a baby or an injury or whatever it is. We just need a statement about what you're up to. And I promise it's not because we're nosy, it's just for really boring auditing purposes. So be sure to include that statement if that is applicable to you. And then fingers crossed, you're accepted. So if you're accepted, we'll send you an official transfer credit evaluation to show you exactly how your college credits articulate to Baylor. And then the next step to getting to Baylor is to submit your $500 enrollment deposit. This is like a down payment on your first semester's tuition cost, and it saves your spot in an incoming class of transfer students. And I do apologize because I actually want to clarify that although the deposit is non-refundable for incoming freshmen, it is indeed refundable for transfer students. And it is refundable up until the deposit deadline. So all of these due dates are also the deposit refund deadlines. So what that means is if you deposit and you start the process to get to Baylor and then you realize for one reason or another it won't work out and you have to cancel your application, you can get your deposit back by that deadline. So for spring, the deadline to deposit or to get your refund is December 1st. For summer entry 1, it's May 1st. Summer entry 2 is June 1st. And for fall, the deadline is July 1st. So I know many students do want to understand how all the classes transfer over and what scholarships they're getting before making this step and making this deposit. So if you're like that too, and you want to know all of the things ASAP, I can help you with that. Just feel free to use our equivalent course tool or ECT to get a preliminary view of how your courses will transfer over. You can just go to baylor.edu, look up ECT, and you'll find this. So plug in your college and course info, and it'll show you how that class comes over to Baylor. Or a little pro tip for you is just plug in the state and institution, leave the course and subject part blank. So just state and institution, click on search courses, and then that will pull up a full list of all the courses that have been frequently transferred in the last 5 years. So please don't be alarmed if you don't see every single class that you've taken on there. This is not an all-inclusive national list of all transferable courses. It's just a great first step to get you an idea of how some classes transfer over and what's already been pre-approved. And then after acceptance and seeing how your courses transfer over, the next step is talking about financial aid. So when we review your application for admission, we'll also be reviewing your transfer application for an academic scholarship. And these are purely based on your cumulative college GPA. So you can see on the chart here that the scholarships range from $9,000 to $13,000, and they are renewable for 4 years as long as you maintain a 3.0 GPA. So hopefully that's good motivation to keep working hard. And then I also want to plug onto this page that if you're part of Phi Theta Kappa or PTK, it's that academic honor society that exists at most community colleges in the United States. If you're part of that and you're accepted and send us a photo of your PTK certificate, we'll give you an additional $1,000 scholarship as well. So definitely keep an eye out for that if you are not already part of PTK. And then we also want to consider you for need-based aid. So there are 2 financial aid applications you're likely very familiar with, and you require both of them. So there's the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, and it is run through the government. And then there's the CSS profile. This stands for College Scholarship Service Profile, and it's run through College Board, that old SAT company. So the FAFSA is free. You fill it out every single year. The CSS profile does cost $25, but it's one and done. So you fill it out once. If you come to Baylor that semester that you applied for the CSS profile, then you never have to do it again. So submit both of these to Baylor, and then our financial aid office can review you for possible need-based aid like scholarships, grants, and more. We really do aim to give students just the best financial aid package possible so that you can get the wonderful investment of a Baylor education while mitigating the cost as much as possible. I will say though, I think moving to Waco will likely save you a bunch of money already. As you can see here, Waco Waco's cost of living is much less than many other places in the United States. I personally was one of the many who moved from California to Texas, and particularly moving to Waco, I can attest to the fact that the cost of living is really much more affordable than many other cities, whether it's the cost of my apartment, how much my husband and I pay for a meal at a restaurant, or a gallon of milk, or my personal favorite, a gallon of gas. We definitely have a wonderfully low cost of living here in Waco, Texas. I actually used to take pictures of the gas prices and send them to my family in California just to lovingly show them what they're missing out on over here. But truly, come and visit and see for yourself. We would love to have you tour campus and explore Waco and really just see what makes this place home for all of us here in the Baylor family. So if you have any questions after today or at any point in the application process, please reach out to us. Although my colleagues were not able to join us live today, I'd love to at least introduce you to pictures of them. So at the top, you'll see Amira Alvarado. She's a regional counselor who lives in Southern California, and she serves all the transfer students from California. And then next, you'll see Edion Castro Rivera. He is also a regional counselor. He lives in Chicago and serves all transfer students from the general Midwest area. And then on the bottom right, I'd like to introduce you to Jan Kester. She's a regional who lives in Colorado and serves all transfer students from Colorado, Arizona, and a few other states in the middle of the United States. And then if you're an international student, we have a whole other team of international transfer counselors who would serve you. And everyone else, I get the pleasure of serving. So please do reach out to us with any questions you may have. And speaking of, let's open up for some questions right now. So Nolan, are there any questions in the Q&A that you think we should answer first?
I do. Thanks for having that. So I would say that there is one in particular. One of the financial aid questions that's come up is that they're a dual enrollment student who will be receiving their AA at the end of their senior year. When applying to FAFSA, what do they select? First year, no college, first year college? Any tips on how someone that's going to be graduating with their associates, that's a dual enrollment student? How does that?
Great question, because we have a lot of students actually who are just total rock stars doing dual credit or running START, whatever it may be. So great question. In general, specifically for the FAFSA, I would like to preface this by saying I'd recommend following up with our financial aid office just to be absolutely sure this is in their wheelhouse of expertise with regard to filling out the FAFSA correctly. But from what I would guess is that you would put first year college to say that your first year actually like going to university, but you have some college. And so that's my guess is what you should put because you actually will be applying as a freshman student. So that kind of piggybacks right on that question is we do have some students who come in with dual credit and they start to either a freshman with dual credit and they'll start to apply as a transfer student. So just to clarify for Baylor, if you have not yet graduated from high school, you will be applying as a freshman. Even if you have a million college credits, if you haven't graduated high school, you're applying as a freshman. If you have already graduated from high school and then you started taking college credits, then you would be applying as a transfer student. So hopefully that helps with that one. And yes, you would be eligible. If you're a transfer student, you're eligible for transfer scholarships. If you're an incoming freshman just with dual credit, then you'd be reviewed for freshman academic scholarships.
Great. Next question that popped up here is that student that is really interested in transferring in January next year. So specific documents like extra test score or any type of transcripts that you need to submit your first semester from your current institution. Seeing the deadline is November 15th, but the first semester actually ends on November 24th where they're going to school. How can they apply to join in the spring transfer class at Baylor?
Great question. So thank you for asking that. We do have quite a few students who are spring freshman transfers. And so with that, you will just begin with your application as a transfer student. What you can do right now is you can send us your final official high school transcript with your graduation date. If you have test scores like the SAT or ACT, then you will send that one. And then if you don't have it due to COVID, reach out to your admissions counselor again, whether it's me, Amira, Edion, or Jan, reach out to us so that we can just take a look at your file and possibly waive them, especially if it was due to COVID. And then for your college transcript, have your college send us an official copy of your in-progress work. We just want to kind of see some proof of what classes you're in. And then we would be able to make a preliminary admission decision based on that. And then if you're accepted, it would be a conditional acceptance. And then once we receive the final fall grades from this semester, November 24th, I believe you said, maybe that's when your semester's ending, send us your final fall transcript. We'll review that. If your grades are up to par, then we'll make that conditional acceptance a full-fledged acceptance. Good question.
The next one that came in, kind of piggybacking off of some test scores. If you have less than 24 hours of credit, do you have to send in the SAT or ACT? Because maybe the student might be an international student. Is it okay to take like a Duolingo English test or a TOEFL exam? Do you have any?
Great question. And the last couple of years has been kind of funky with COVID and everything with ability to even take those. So that would be something where the Duolingo and TOEFL, that is in a different category of English proficiency, and the SAT, ACT is in its own category with regard to testing your academic abilities. So they can't cover each other, but if you don't have SAT or ACT scores at all and you have less than 24 credits, again, reach out to whoever your admissions counselor is, or if you're an international student, then one of our counselors, Priscilla or Andre, would be able to help you with that. Their email address is just international_admissions@baylor.edu, or y'all can always just start by admissions@baylor.edu and we'll get you connected with them to figure out the SAT, ACT waiving that. But with regard to English proficiency, real quick, we need either, yes, like Duolingo scores, TOEFL scores, or a transcript showing you've done at least 1 year of school at an English speaking institution. Yeah, good question.
Next one is a really great one. Someone is pumped that they are about to apply for the spring semester. If they apply now, what date would they find out that they've been accepted or not?
Terrific question. So for spring transfer applicants right now, we're able to give you a turnaround of about 4 weeks or less. So if you apply and then complete your application, so it's not by like I hit submit date, but it's the date that you completed, got us those transcripts, or your high school transcripts, test scores, all those things that were on that other page. Once you complete your application, which no worries, one of us will send you an email once your application is complete so that you know, all right, it's done. From that date, within 4 weeks, we'll give you a decision. So we are rolling for transfer admissions, which is different than the freshmen. They don't have rolling admission, but we do with transfers.
Would you mind going over one more time how the equivalent course tool works? So how someone can find out if their classes have or will transfer over to Baylor or not?
Absolutely, yes. So there is a nifty little tool called the ECT, or equivalent course tool. You can find it, honestly, if you just go online and look up Baylor ECT, it'll pop up, or you can go to baylor.edu, type in ECT, and you'll find it. So you'll just make sure whatever state your school is in, you'll make sure it's set to that state. Unfortunately, it's only for schools in the United States. So put that, and then institution, plug in whatever institution you are currently attending or where your classes are. And then you can either type in the class like English 1301 and click search to see if it comes up, or you can bypass the subject and course number, just have your state and institution, and then click search courses on the bottom right hand of the page. And it'll pull up a full list of all the courses that have been frequently transferred in the last 5 years. So it's not a fully inclusive list, and don't fret if you don't see all of your courses on there, especially for any students from out of state. I believe the one who asked this question might have said they were from California. So that's actually our largest out of state population. So we do have quite a few courses on the ECT from California schools, but in general, wherever you're at, if you don't see a lot of classes on there, that does not mean that your courses won't transfer over. It just means we haven't had many students from your school take those same classes and transfer to Baylor. And so how that process works real quick is there's kind of like a 3-layer approach to course transferring. First layer is the ECT. That shows you what's been pre-approved for articulation. Second layer is if you apply and you're accepted, then within a week or 2 of your acceptance, we'll give you a transfer credit evaluation in your Go Baylor account. So you'll get to see actually what all of your courses and the articulations are. And then the third layer is if you don't happen to see any of your classes, maybe 1 or 2 classes are missing on that transfer credit eval, then what you can do is take the syllabi or digital syllabi, whatever you have. So that's a pro tip, keep the syllabi from all your courses. You can take that and send that over to the department. Again, let's say it's an English class and it didn't transfer over for some reason, send your syllabi to Baylor's Department of English and kind of have your little presentation, just say, hey, I'd like to show you my syllabus. I believe it should count for the English course at Baylor. So that's how the whole course transfer process works. Do we have any other questions?
That's all the questions that I see in the Q&A right now.
All right. Well, again, if anybody does have questions at any point, please reach out to us. I know that transferring is not an easy thing. In fact, I I love my transfers. I think that y'all are so brave. If whether you're coming from a community college, that was a brave decision to not go to a 4-year and to do a community college. I think that was so wise. And then to transfer to Baylor, or if you're transferring from a 4-year, I think that is quite courageous to say this school doesn't quite fit for me. I'm going to go out on a limb and see if maybe another school out there would be a better fit. So I am just thrilled that you're even thinking about transferring to Baylor. I think the world of you already. And so please do reach out to us. Our general email is just transfer_admissions@baylor.edu. You can see my email is right here. You can always email me, and we would love to help you with any other questions that you have. Oh, I see one more question came in. So let me answer that real quick. Just to clarify, will we see how our credits transfer over on our Go Baylor account? Yes. If you apply and if you're accepted to Baylor within about 2 weeks, you'll get a text saying, hey, guess what? We just reviewed your credits. Check your Go Baylor. And on your Go Baylor account, you'll see a little tab section that says check your transfer credit evaluation, and it'll be right there. Awesome. All right. Well, from Nolan and me and the entire rest of the admissions office, thank you so much for joining us for Premiere today. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. And as always, Sic 'em Bears.